Hello and welcome again to the Parkside YouTube channel, where we've been hosting a whole range of programs throughout 2020. And some of you may have been following them week by week as we've been doing them. Over the December Christmas period, we've had to take a little bit of a break because it's been so intense. But here we are now back in 2021, and we are starting the new year with some exciting new programs to bring some life, some knowledge, and some hope to those of you out there who are struggling where we are now still in a situation of COVID-19 and being in all these different tiers. Who would have imagined back in the March of 2020, where we initially had a lockdown and thought, okay, let's not worry about it. Let's go online and let's continue life online for about 2-3 months, and then we'll get back to normal. But here we are in January of 2021, and we are still faced with the situation of having to do pretty much everything online. So welcome again. My name's Tony Wright, and I'm your host for this program. And we're going to be talking about a topic which I'm sure will be quite prominent in your mind, especially at the beginning of a new year. Most people will have made New Year's resolutions, and I'm guessing one of those will be perhaps, trying to lose weight or trying to get fit. So this topic we're going to be talking about is about exercise, and our speaker for this topic is one of our young people here at Parkside by the name of Gus Nyberg. And I'll be telling you a little bit about Gus in a few moments. But first, I just want to say to you, a lot of people are talking about the new year, a new start in life. And I just want to draw your attention to one of the acronyms that our church in particular uses quite a lot, and that is New Start. And there's a reason why we say New Start, because those acronyms or that particular word and phrase, the actual letters mean something. So the N for the new is all about nutrition. Now, I'm not going to spend any time talking about nutrition now, but if you want to find out about nutrition, we have a whole series of videos and programs on our Parkside YouTube channel. And all you have to do is log on to the channel and go and see some of the past videos that we've presented about nutrition. And you'll find out a whole host of things. Some of them are about cooking, different recipes. Some of them are about, how nutrition helps us to overcome certain diseases that we may encounter during our lives. So yeah, if you want to find out about nutrition, do go and find out about those things which can help in your new start. So from the N, we move on to E of new, and the E represents exercise. And here's where we're going to talk about exercise in this program here this evening. So if you want to find out about how exercise can help you begin your new start in this new year of 2021, then stay tuned, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that you may not particularly recognize with exercise. And you're going to find out a lot, I'm sure, when Gus begins his talk. So before I introduce Gus, or let me give you a little bit of a bio about Gus. Now, Gus is a 27-year-old young man. who's been a personal trainer for about 5 years now. And in those 5 years, he's given consultations and hundreds of individuals ranging from the age of 18 to 70 years old, creating plans to improve all aspects of their health, their mentality, and physical well-being. Gus studied physiology. Is that correct? Physiology at the Cardiff University School of Sport. And he specializes in improving fitness, increasing aesthetics, boxing, boot camp, strength training, and creating a fun environment to train. So that's Gus. So Gus, welcome to our Parkside YouTube channel.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
And I'm glad to be talking to you today. So Gus, before we get into the whole realm of exercise, perhaps if we just spend a few moments doing a little bit of an icebreaker, and let's find out a little bit more about you as a person. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay. So, Gus, the first question I've got for you is, obviously, you know, being a fitness man, you probably watch what you eat and, you know, very particular about certain things and your diet. But I want to know, because I'm sure we all have a little bit of a weakness somewhere, but I want to know is, do you have a favorite junk food that you find really hard to give up? And if you do, what would you replace that with?
Okay, well, I'd love to say I didn't have any weaknesses, but unfortunately, that's far from the truth. I was even eating this junk food last night. I have to admit this, but my junk food is pizza.
All right.
I can eat a whole pizza by myself, a large one, no problems. But the amount of calories in that thing is not ideal.
And what's your particular flavor of pizza? If I went to Pizza Express and I said, you know, I've got to order a pizza and it has to be this because this is Gus's pizza.
I'd say anything with chicken on it.
All right.
Anything with chicken on it, I go for it. So I enjoy the chicken pizzas a lot. Margarita's not really for me. I've got to have something on it. And if something's going to be on it, chicken has to be a part of it. Otherwise, I'm not too keen on the pizza. So I'm not too picky. I think I've eaten pizza long enough to almost like everything, but the chicken ones is my number one.
Okay. And if you had to give up pizza, what would you replace that with?
Prayer and fasting. So I can have my pizza back. I don't know. If I had to give up pizza, I think I would probably take time to actually go and dive more into like like brown rice and things like that. I don't really get into stuff like that too much. Brown rice, sweet potato, it's not really my palate, and it's something which I've always tried to add. So I think that'll probably be my opportunity to try and eat stuff like that.
Okay, all right. Let me ask you another question. What would be or is your favorite holiday destination, or a place you perhaps like to live on this planet?
I think I'm still keen to go to Dubai because I have never been to Dubai, but it looks brilliant. So that's probably a place where I'd like to go to. My favorite place, which right now I know I can go to confidently and be comfortable there, has to be Trinidad, because I went there for holiday and I went there for my friend's wedding, which turned into a holiday at the end. But it was a great place to go. I enjoy Trinidad. I'd probably go back.
Cool. That's one place I've not been to yet. So yeah, that's one place I'd perhaps like to visit at some stage in my life. Okay, another question. What movie would you say has inspired you of late? Maybe in the past year of 2020, when we've been locked down and probably had a bit more time to watch a bit of Netflix. What do you think has been your movie for inspiration?
I'd probably pick two movies. I'd probably pick. One of them is not so much the movie; it's more so the story behind the movie. But the actual movie which inspired me is called 13 Hours. It's just it's like a special ops kind of like army type film where some soldiers were stuck in Syria and they were getting attacked and they particularly did not have support for around 4 or 5 hours. It's a true story. And they basically just shows a group of men, I think there's around 8 or 9 of them, and they just came together and told themselves, the reality is we're not going to have backup. We're in a foreign country. There's people trying to kill us. They'll probably keep coming all night. This is what we have. Let's make it happen. And to watch the movie, to realize it's a true story, they survived the attack. And they they came back to the US and the UK. But just to see how they grouped together against all odds and just said, we're going to go for it. I think it's something to be commended because it's quite easy to quit when you're in that kind of situation and just give in and say, do you know what, I've lost. But for them to actually believe that they can make it through and they're willing to take that small chance, I thought that spoke to my 2020 experience.
Okay. All right. So my final question is there a book that you've read that you would thoroughly recommend your friends or everybody else to read?
It's a tricky one for me because growing up, I never really liked to read, which is strange. But now the degree that I'm studying theology, I found myself reading a lot. Unfortunately, the books that I read are probably not the things which people would read casually, socially. But I have read portions from a book called Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I've also watched Rick Warren preach from sections of his book. And the book just sounds amazing. So that's probably going to be something which I actually pick up to read. But based on the little bits the glimpses I've caught from that book, that's an amazing book to just get your mind straight and answer many questions in terms of why am I here, which is a question which I think a lot of people have. So I'll probably say Purpose-Driven Life. Okay,
that's great. Well, thank you for being so candid with those questions, Gus. And it's nice to know, just a little bit about, what are extracurricular activities and all those different things are like. So obviously here we are, Gus, we're going to be talking about exercise, or you're going to be talking about exercise. But, one of the questions, I mean, we made the strap line for this video as why exercise? And I suppose if, people were asked that question in a survey or generally in conversation, why would you exercise? I'm sure a lot of people would answer that and say, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, or, I want to get a little bit fit, or, I haven't exercised for a long time. And I think, this is a new year and I've got to do something. Otherwise my, health is going to be impacted. But I'm sure as we listen to you, Gus, you're going to not only confirm those answers, but I'm sure you're going to tell us a little bit more about, why we should exercise and what are the things that are not so obvious about exercise, and help us understand, well, in actual fact, if we're going to have this holistic approach to health, then exercise is going to be key. So Gus, without further ado, I'm going to leave you to talk to us about why we should exercise.
Okay, great. So why should we exercise? It's a good question. And I'll probably say this is something which a lot of us, if we really thought about enough, we have, like as you said, Tony, there's many things that a lot of us, we probably have a whole page of answers. But one thing which I could probably say with exercise right off the bat is most times when people talk about it, it's usually to address a very immediate need. It's usually to address a very immediate thing. So a lot of people on personal training, they'll come to me when I'm getting married, I want to go on holiday, I need to fit into this dress, I need to fit into this t-shirt, I need to fit into something. And it's very short term. So many people do have this desire to go for the short-term appeal of exercise. However, The one thing which I'll probably say right off the bat is only a few people tend to exercise thinking about longevity. Normally people think about what they want to be doing in the next 40 years, how they want to actually look. No one ever says, Gus, train me because, in 40 years time, I want to look like this. It's always to do with today. So right off the bat, why should I exercise? I like to start with some statistics, and off the top of my mind, last time I went on the NHS page, it will tell you. I like to keep track of stuff like that just to see what's happening recently in terms of health and fitness. And NHS will tell you that exercise will prevent up to 50% chance of you getting some of the major diseases: heart disease, stroke, diabetes. Those three diseases are quite common, the most common, and exercise will prevent up to 50% of that. So for me, I always find it to be quite startling. And if anybody asks me, why should I exercise? That's probably before any of your signals start to go off and people start to log out or anything starts to happen. I would leave you with that information because I think that's big. Nobody would want to be dealing with any of these things as you get older. So knowing now when you're still healthy that you can have a 50% chance of preventing it, I would say take exercise. Two other things which come to my mind when it talks about exercise to do with statistics and the human body is two terms: sarcopenia and osteoporosis. And these things are something which happen a lot when people are getting older. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass in your body. You start to get older, you naturally lose muscle mass because your body just starts to degenerate. So something which a lot of older people can be susceptible to. Exercise works to prevent that, right? And many of us, having studied physical education in school, we know the importance of muscle tissue, strength, balance. Your body moves by your muscles contracting. So losing muscle mass is not an ideal situation to be in. And osteoporosis is the loss of bone density. So at the same time, as you get older, we all know the importance of bones. It's essentially the base of our whole body. As you get older, some people get osteoporosis, and osteoporosis is when your bones become quite gentle and a bit more hollow than usual. And when you get older, you're likely to fall down, and you're likely to experience that kind of, a fall. A lot of old people definitely fall down. And if you have osteoporosis or weak bones, you're more likely to have fractures and damages in your bones, which your body will then take longer to replenish. And of course, it's going to be quite painful. So in terms of longevity and your human body, I'd say those things, science has shown it's not a maybe, it's a definite. If you exercise, those things can be far away from you for your whole life. So that's probably some big points I'd probably throw out there just to get started. On a more day-to-day life, what I have seen is that a lot of people, life is very busy and very demanding. Parents have pressure of, looking after their kids, raising their family. Young people have the pressure of going into their careers and making it through this difficult life. And a lot of people are experiencing pressure. That's probably the word I'd say. There's a lot of people experiencing loads of pressure from just the demands of life. So when it comes to exercise, again, scientifically, a common fact that we all know is that endorphins are released when we exercise, and endorphins just help you to feel good. And I think that's something which everybody chases after when they have a bit of a busy life, busy schedule, stressful period in life. You want to book a holiday, you want to do things like that. Exercise on a daily basis has shown to release endorphins. This is why you never really hear many people saying, oh, I went to the gym today and I regretted it. I shouldn't have gone to the gym. You almost never hear somebody. The most common thing that you hear people say is, I didn't want to go, but I went and I'm glad I went. So exercise has that success rate of always making people feel good. So if you're somebody let's say in quarantine right now, we're all dealing with massive issues in terms of being in the house all day, feeling lonely. It's easy for some of us to experience negative mindsets, negative moods, being cooped up in the house all day. Exercise is something which allows you to feel good. And this is why the government even allowed us in the first lockdown, get outside, go to the park, go for a run, go for a jog. It's an important thing and it's a fact. You will feel better. Which kind of links in straight to self-perception. A lot of us, especially in 2020, 2020, and I talk about this a lot. Instagram, social media age, where you can see everybody at all times. Sometimes we are a bit demotivated because we feel as if everyone looks better than me. And like, oh, look at that physique. I don't look like that. I can't do this. I'm not this strong. And a lot of us feel negative. But exercise gives you at least that opportunity to not just sit at home as a spectator, but you have the opportunity to actually go out there and do something, chisel your body. Make your body like a piece of art itself. You don't have to just sit down and watch. You have the access to go to the gym, and you can simply take part, and it can improve your self-perception, which is something which I think a lot of people have a battle with, because most times when I was being in the gym, especially at Nuffield Health, many people come, and I'd probably say 80% of the goals were people saying, basically, can you help me change my body? I don't like how I look. So exercise has that direct impact, and that kind of leads me on to talk about some practical things which I've definitely seen. Self-perception, I didn't realize how big a thing it was until I started to talk to my clients more about their personal lives, their work life, their parenting life, their sporting life, their ambitions, things like that. And what I realized is a lot of people improved, or they leveled up in life in general from exercise. And that sounds a bit crazy. Some people wouldn't see exercise as that powerful, but this is why. A lot of people who come into the gym, they're not very confident. And when we did a massive survey for Nuffield Health as a whole company, most of the members who come to Nuffield, and probably I'd think most other gyms, they want to feel a sense of autonomy, a sense of control. I know what I'm doing. I'm competent to use this machine. I look like I know what I'm doing. So a lot of people, when they come into the gym, they're not confident. Their self-perception is quite low. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to go. And when they gain this confidence, I have seen people become confident in general. It's not just a thing of I know how to use the gym, but the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I speak to people, I am just a more confident person. And the reason why this is so significant with exercise is that when you start from this place where, let's say, I want to lose weight, I want to gain more muscle mass, I want to be more fitter. When you're far away from that goal, a lot of people have these negative feelings of themselves, but when they move close to it and the confidence grows, now when one of my clients went to work, she told me, Gus, she's so excited, Gus, I got a promotion. So I'm just like, okay, like, well done, celebrated, okay, cool, now let's get up there. And she kept talking about her promotion. I was like, okay, like, no, it's good. Let's just focus on this and we can talk about your promotion later. And later on at the end of the workout, she literally told me, I keep talking about this and I'm very happy to come to training purely because if I never started training, I would never have got my promotion. So obviously I thought to myself, how does that link? And the more I talked to her and thought about it, I realized she simply became more confident in herself. She felt good about how she looked. She thought that she could never hit her goals in the gym. But when she hit it, it unlocked something in her mind, which told her, I can do things. I can do things which are difficult. And she took that mindset into her workplace. And I'll probably say that's the big uppercut in terms of exercise. It gives you transferable skills. If you really think about how hard it is to wake up in the morning to exercise, there's times when you feel like exercising, but there's days when you don't. And when you still choose to go and exercise, it does something for you, not just your body and health, but it does something for your mind to develop discipline. And discipline is another thing which you can get from exercise, but it's very transferable. Every company would like a disciplined worker. And you being disciplined in your own life, in your social life, in your marriage, in your relationships, makes you a more better person to be around and a higher quality person. Determined mind you will get from exercising. Patience is a massive thing, especially for me. I used to be very impatient, but the more you have your goals and you start to go on this journey of exercise, you realize it's not quick. If I'm doing it properly, it's not quick. It's kind of a journey of a lifetime. You set yourself goals, you reach your goals, and you realize, is this it? I want to get some more. And you aim for some more, and you keep going. You realize some of us have been training for 15 years. So you kind of develop this patience, and that's another transferable skill you can take into your daily life, where you realize when you look at other people and they're on their journey and they're struggling and they're stressing, you start to be able to encourage other people to tell them, hey, listen, don't be so hard on yourself. Take progressive chunks, be patient. And I think patience is just something which everybody would like in terms of if you're relating with anybody. And in terms of mental strength, it's there. You're going to be facing obstacles every day in the gym. Your personal trainer or your workout plan will say things that you think you can't do. But in due time, because your body gets stronger when you exercise, you start to develop the mental toughness where something which used to defeat you is now the run of the mill for you. So even for me, being a Christian, I'd probably say exercise has helped me in my spiritual life, in the sense that when you really look at it, it's very similar to the experience that Christians face every day. You're a Christian, and in the most basic sense of Christianity, not to say that this is all it is, but generally, God would want us to take the good things and neglect the bad things, the things which are not ideal for us. When you think about the exercise journey, it's exactly the same. Your personal trainer will tell you to get to this goal, which you want to get to, and I want you to get you there, you need to eat this way. You need to train like this many times, and you need to try and avoid these things. And all of it comes down to willpower. If you can have the willpower to simply say, I'd like to have this Coke, I'm not going to drink Coke. I'd like to eat this, I'm not going to eat this. When you have that kind of mindset, it kind of translates into other aspects of your life when you have to exercise the same willpower. So I'd say exercise has that kind of strength. If you can do it like that and just doing it for yourself, then definitely when it comes to other aspects of your life, you will do it, and it makes it easier for you because you're experiencing this kind of battle every single day.
Wow. Gus, I'm just going to let you pause for a little bit there, actually, because you've said quite a lot of things which I've already picked up on. But I'm going to bring you back a little bit about the need to exercise and being disciplined and all of that sort of stuff. What if you are in a situation where you cannot engage in the physical exercise like people who actively go to the gym or go to the swimming pool and work out? What if you've got some sort of illness, or you just can't really go out and be as active and vigorous as much as you'd like to? What could people do in that respect in terms of getting a certain level of fitness that they would perhaps want?
Okay, great question, because I think this is may not be the majority, but there's definitely more than enough people in that situation. I'd probably say two things. One thing I've always told my clients is, when you're having a struggle, difficulty of exercising, you're not able to get in for whatever reason at all. Like you said, some people simply cannot, and some people just sometimes have a very busy life and they don't have the time. One thing I'd always tell you, which is kind of like what you mentioned at the very beginning of this, nutrition. Nutrition is your best friend when it comes to maintenance. If you cannot exercise, but you still choose to eat well, it works very, very well to maintain what it is, to maintain the level in which you've reached already. So I'd probably tell you, if you can't exercise, don't be disheartened. Try and look to other methods in terms of nutrition, and nutrition has the ability to still make you defined, to still make you have good muscle definition, purely because all you're doing is controlling calories. And if you can do that, you can still manipulate how much fat you have on your body and how much you don't. So I'd say nutrition is one thing, but the other thing is, my other motto is, do whatever it is that you can in the position that you can. So if you're not able to go to the gym, my next question is, okay, the key thing is not about going to the gym. The key thing is exercise. Is there somewhere else I can exercise? Right? So for you might be going to the park. It might be cycling somewhere. It might be going for a walk. You can do that. It might be, okay, you can't really do that too much. It's not ideal for you. What can you do in your house? What can you do in your house? That's basically how I start to take things down. What can you do in your house? And if it's okay, I can work out in my house, but let's say I have an issue with my leg, I can't really use my leg at all, then it's one of the things where I'd always say that it's something which these are the kind of things I deal with in consultations, but I'd always say that look at what you can do, focus on what you can do and capitalize on that. Once you focus on what you can do, then you have an opportunity to still take part in this wonderful world of exercise. So if you can only do upper body exercises, don't focus on the fact that you can't do lower body. Focus on your upper body, do it. If you can only do your legs and that's all you can train medically or for any reason whatsoever, only focus on your legs. But definitely try and ask yourself, what can I do? Okay. Which I think is an important question, because many people go through difficulties, and unfortunately some people see professionals and the professionals say, for the next couple of weeks, don't do this. And then it feels depressing.
Yeah.
But rarely do people tell you, for the next couple of weeks, only do this.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that's probably a positive way, which might help people to still be able to get something done. Ask yourself, what can I do? And sometimes when you ask that question, you realize there's still a lot to be done.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why I asked that question, because people often think, you've got to be 100% physically able to be able to exercise and stuff like that. But all you have to do is look at those people who were once physically able in all aspects of life, and then for one reason or another, they may have lost the use of their some of their limbs or whatever, but they still find a way to go out and become fantastic athletes, and they're able to surpass even people who have all of their faculties and all of their limbs. Yeah, that's just amazing.
100%, and that's exactly the point. The fact that you've got a whole sport with teams and leagues of people who have impairments in different areas, but they still play basketball their own way. They still play football. They still have all of these different sports. Ask yourself, what is it that I can do, and you'll be surprised at how much you can get done.
Excellent. Yeah. And one of the things I'd like to draw or talk about is the mental aspect of exercise. I know oftentimes I have all good intentions to go out and start maybe running every morning, and I, for the first few days, I do get out and I go. And quite recently, I started doing a bit of jogging around the area where I live. And then I pulled a little muscle in my calf, and I thought, oh no, this really hurts. So I stopped for a few days, made sure it was, repairing itself and getting better. And then I haven't jogged again since. And it's just that ramping up of, getting to a certain level, and then you fall back down, and then you've got to find this effort to ramp up again. How do we combat that sort of trying to keep consistent in anything that we're going to do?
So one thing I'll say is this. A key thing which I see, which always amuses me in the gym, but I definitely do try to manage it because it could be dangerous, is that it seems like everybody, when they stop exercise and then they come back into it, everyone has the great comeback mentality. Yeah. Everything that I used to do, I'm going to just jump back in and it's going to be great. It's going to be blue skies, abs. The abs I used to have will come back. Everything will come back. But the reality is, when we do nothing, our body usually functions to just maintain. Our body doesn't like to work. That's why exercise is so hard. So anytime we relax for a long period of time, our body likes to do the minimal amount it has to do to keep you going. Mm-hmm. So every time you return back to the gym and you haven't been there, you have to recognize, and I think many of us have to face in our minds, that I am not who I used to be, maybe even a year ago. So I can get there. That's the fact. But right now, my base level is always lower. Every time I return, it's lower than before. Therefore, I need to recognize that, and recognize that because of that, things have to be done in a smaller increment. So come back nice and gentle. And this is what I always advise people. Personal training can be expensive. If you can't afford it, I wouldn't say try and force yourself to do it. But I would say good personal trainers, especially if you're in a gym, they will give you small tips and nurture you back into the gym. But the key thing I would advise you to do is come back in nice and gentle. Whatever it is that you used to do, you can go and do it. Take down the weight, take down the frequency, take down the speed. What you're doing is not the problem. Just come back lighter. So if it is that you want to go for a run or go for a jog a bit slower. Maybe do the same route, but jog slower. Or if you want to jog at the same speed, cut the distance in half. Cut the distance in half. Finish that. See how you feel today. You've always got tomorrow. So even if you want to go, and if you want to go again tomorrow, you're going to work better if you come back doing a little bit frequently. And that's exactly and I'd want to motivate somebody to tell them that I'm not telling you lies, because this is what elite athletes do. As elite as they are, every time they get injured, they have to come back small increments. If I used to do 15 minutes, I'm going to come back and just do 10. I'm going to come back and just do 20. When that feels good, I'm going to come back and just do 30. So I'd probably say slowly work your way up that way. And the other thing that came to my mind when you asked this question is people seem to have this thing in their mind of exercise is not effective unless I do it for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I can't. You know, I have to take the kids and I have to go to work and I don't have an hour. Because by the time, there's a lady who used to train, she'd tell me, by the time I take the kids, by the time I dress and I drive to the gym, plus the exercise, plus me getting showering, plus me leaving the gym, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the response I would tell you is, who told you to train for an hour? You don't have to. It's possible for you to train for 20 minutes.
I suppose there's this psychological thing about, you know, you don't feel you've done enough exercise unless you feel the sweat running from your body.
Absolutely. And that's exactly the fallacy. And when you really think about that thought process, everybody thinks like this, but it makes no sense because some people can sweat from just sitting down.
Yeah.
And you still don't feel fulfilled then. So it's one of the things where sweat is not the key thing. The key thing is getting that heart rate up. Mm-hmm. So there's some people I've gotten, this comes back to getting some guidance or go to YouTube if you'd like to go to YouTube. But there's genuine workouts which you can find, which will get your heart rate up and get you moving very, very well. Only 15 minutes long, or only 20 minutes long. And because it's short, you can do it maybe every day, 4 or 5 times a week, maybe. And that's one way to work if you don't have an hour. If you have an hour, then take the hour. But if you don't have it every day, train 3 times a week. You've still done enough because all of it together builds up. So the key thing I'd probably say is look at your life structure. How busy am I? And the key word is let me be realistic. Mm-hmm. Be realistic with your short-term goals. Be realistic with your timing. And be realistic with how hard you can push your intensity.
Okay. So Gus, you touched on something quite pertinent there about the heart. And I'm not a doctor. I don't think you're a doctor. But someone who's maybe 40 plus, going into middle age and not exercised for a long time, would you advise them to see their GP before engaging in any sort of strenuous exercise, especially where your heart rate is going to be affected?
Absolutely, absolutely. The gym is a very fun place and it can look like a bit like a playground, but it's a very serious place. A lot of negative things do happen in the gym, unfortunately. But me working for Nuffield I don't work for Nuffield anymore, but I've been working for them for around 4 years. One thing which we always did is that anytime someone was new to the gym, we checked their heart rate. We checked their why's my brain going blank? We definitely checked their heart rate. They basically came in for health MOT, and the health MOT then informed what it is that they were going to do. Okay. So I'd probably tell anybody, if you haven't been in the gym for a while, the very, very least you should be doing, check your heart rate and check your blood pressure. These are 2 things which I think any gym in the world can provide for you for free and very, very quick. It's very quick, but extremely important because when they see your results, that's what informs what you should do. And I think too many people walk into the gym and some gyms don't care too much for the people. Unfortunately, in my opinion, they just care about the money. You paid your membership, start exercising. Yeah. But definitely say, look after yourself. Ask them, can I have my blood pressure? Can I have a heart rate check? When you have it, then you can know that maybe, do you know what? I shouldn't be pushing too hard. Okay. How far should I push? How hard should I go? It will inform that.
Yeah. And of course, that's something that each and every one of us should be doing on a regular basis anyway with our GPs is, you know, just going for a regular check on your blood pressure and your heart rate, because you never ever know, you know, what sort of things can affect it. And I've heard so many stories where, you know, people's hearts have been affected, but they don't know it's happening until it's too late.
This is it. So I had two incidents in the gym which I used to work in, and one of the guys, he basically was working out and he collapsed and they had to go take him to hospital. And he thought he was a healthy, fit guy.
Mhm.
He was like, Gus, as far as I knew, I was healthy and fit. But what they basically told him at the hospital is, the human body is very strong, but can be very fragile. And sometimes when you're going across life, if you're not exercising and if you're not having regular checks, even some things can change. It's out of your control, and you simply did not know. So if you still come in to try and exert yourself as usual, you sometimes put yourself at a massive, massive risk. So I'd probably say it's very, very smart. We neglect it because we think it's probably time consuming to go see the GP, just have a checkup. But definitely, if you can, go for a checkup frequently and just make sure everything is fine. And one of the things with exercise is if you can recognize something early, then you have more time to solve it. That's the key thing. Recognize things early, then you can deal with it.
Okay. How this is one of the things you were speaking about the way we look, and I'm sure the media has a lot to answer for when they put their adverts on the TV or on the internet and stuff, with all these nicely shaped people who do the adverts, and they make people think that, yeah, I can look like that. But, those people who are on the TV or on the internet have spent a lot of hours in the gym. And also on top of that, they have expert people, making them up to look, just right. Will exercise do that for us?
Answer is yes, exercise will make you look good. But the flip side, which like you've mentioned, the fitness industry presents things as if everything is a guarantee. All you have to do is take this product and exercise, you'll be fine. You look just like this guy in the advert. But they won't tell you things like, with affected lighting in the advert. They won't tell you things like he's been training for the last 25 years. They won't tell you things like this is his actual body type, because there's body types which you have to account for. They won't tell you about his genetics. All of these are things which are important. And if you're not built the exact same way as this person, you will never look like that, no matter how hard you try. So going into this, I haven't talked about this for a while actually, but there's 3 body types. Generally, traditionally, this is what you get in a lot of articles or the world of physiology or physical education. They'll tell you there's ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Ectomorphs are people who, most of us know them, they're the people who are naturally slim. It doesn't matter how much they eat, they tend to just stay slim. There's nothing they can eat to ever make them really add weight. They keep it. There's people who are mesomorphs. Mesomorphs are people who you might see on TV and they look very muscular, naturally quite muscular and big. So let's say women like Serena Williams, she's quite muscular naturally. She doesn't really have to train a lot. We can all see she's a powerful woman. She's a strong woman. You've got people like Mo Farah. He's naturally smaller. He's an ectomorph. Serena Williams, she's more of a mesomorph, quite naturally strong and muscular. And then you've got people who are endomorphs. Endomorphs are suited, they're naturally bigger in size, and they're generally suited to sports like rugby, naturally big. So if you find sumo wrestlers or the people who are the big players in rugby teams, these are natural endomorphs. You have to recognize where on the spectrum your body naturally is. And that will do you a lot of mental, just peace. You'll have a lot of peace in your mind because you'll be able to find people online who have a similar body to you, the base, and you can see realistically where you can end up. That's what I always try to tell a lot of people. And also factor in genetics. Genetics is generally how your body attaches its muscle, where the body attaches the muscle, where you naturally store fat, where you don't store fat, which parts of your body naturally grows faster than other areas. You have to do all of these things and be aware of your body. And when you're aware of your body, the next thing is embrace it. Don't look at it as a negative because you don't look like this popular icon. The reality is you are who you are. They are who they are. You can look great just in your way. And that's a key thing which I'd probably say a lot of people need to embrace. Because for me, growing up, I told myself, I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because the way I looked at him in pictures, I thought, wow, big arms, big chest. Wow. And then I looked at my body and I realized, actually, I'm naturally narrow. I can never make my body to get wider because my bone structure doesn't go that way.
Okay.
and I started to find other fitness models who looked more realistic to me. And I'd probably say this is an important thing for everybody to realize. Realize what your body type is. Are you naturally bigger? Are you naturally very muscular? Or are you naturally quite slim? When you realize that, then you will realize what thing is realistic to you and how to train, because all body types should not train the same.
So you say maybe eating, 10 pounds of steak and having all these protein shakes doesn't really do anything for you?
So one thing I'll tell you, which, and I like to talk about things which I know about. There's things which I can read about. We can all read articles. One thing I do know is when I was in university, sports uni, everybody's hitting the gym. Everyone's taking protein shakes. We all thought, take it. I went to basketball training. My coach told me, throw that in the bin. And I thought, great offense. I've paid 70 quid for this packet. This is protein isolate. And I gave him all the details, and he says, I couldn't care less what it is. So I stopped taking protein shake for a while. And guess what? Nothing changed. I didn't get smaller. I went to the gym. I've still been growing. I've still been hitting my goals. And one thing I realized is that the natural food which you eat at home, it's enough. The normal food you eat at home is actually enough. And this is why supplement companies also tell you that it's called supplement. It's not called the magic pill. It's not called you'll be big in 2 years. You'll be big in 2 weeks. It's just literally called a supplement. Supplement to what? Supplement to a good balanced diet. And most times, one thing I've realized is if you have a good diet, you don't need to take any supplements, because you're going to be doing everything that that supplement will give you at a higher level, because food is always stronger than a processed powder. Always. And when you consider how much money I was spending on supplements, I realized I could just buy eggs. I could just buy more rice. I could just buy more chicken. That is actually what your body responds to, because it's natural food. And actually, I've become more vegetarian. I'm not like a vegetarian, because I definitely do eat meat. But my meat content has gone so much lower over the years, and I still have not seen any diminishing returns. Like, I have not got smaller. I've still been getting bigger and stronger. So I probably tell people there is a massive scam somewhere. And it's a big comment, big statement to make, but there was a massive scam somewhere in the health and fitness industry, which is marketed because companies want to make money. But what I will tell you as a fact is that if you take healthy options, you don't have to stuff your face down with so much meat to get results. Your body will respond even if you're vegetarian. There are vegetarian bodybuilders out there, and they look equally as good.
Wow. So what about all this stuff about, your body needs protein, and, if you're going to get big muscles, you're going to have to get your protein from somewhere, especially if you're a vegetarian?
Yeah, so one thing which I did realize also is you've got what they call BCCAs, branch chain amino acids, which is basically the building blocks which your body uses to build muscle. Now, when you're vegetarian, it's more work to get your protein in, because most the vegetarian diet, a lot of the things that you eat have some of the branch chain amino acids, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. But it's not a massive research to have a complete diet, because there's people who, let's say, if you have beans and if you happen to eat some peanuts on the same day, you've got all your BCCAs with those two combined. You can just carry on eating anything else for the rest of the day, your rice, your legumes, your carrots, your veg, but you've already got your BCCAs. So it's not a massive thing or difficulty to hit all your protein requirements as a vegetarian. All you have to do is do basic research. And I'd probably say keep it as simple as go online and type in vegetarian BCCAs. And you probably find loads of pages telling you these foods combined gives you enough protein. These foods combined give you enough protein. Once you can see that, you don't even have to refer to it every day. You can just mix it in your daily diet. You will have enough protein. The only thing about meat, which the fitness industry doesn't tell you, is that meat has all your branch chain amino acids. It's just easier to eat meat. That's all it is. It's not impossible to get your protein without meat. It's just easier to eat chicken. But if you wanted to be a vegetarian, you could do it and easily hit all your protein goals. And that's a fact.
Wow. So there's a lot to learn from Gus there. We've just heard that, all this information about, eating steak and going to the gym and pumping weights and all that kind of stuff isn't really necessary. And I mean, for the average person, who wants to exercise, your goal is not always to have this chiseled body, so that when you go on the beach, everybody's heads turn and all that sort of stuff.
No, but absolutely, that's exactly what it is. A lot of us see these superstars online, and we hear that he has 5 meals a day, and you want to eat 5 meals a day. But really, in your mind, if you ask yourself, you don't really want to be that big. You'd like to be healthier, fitter, more defined, but not quite at that level. So if you don't want to be at that level, you don't need to be having 10 eggs a day. You don't need to be stuffing your face with steak, purely because you just want to achieve a portion of what they've done.
Okay. Really, really good. What else can I ask you? So, exercise. We're in a new year, and a lot of people are saying, I want to exercise to lose weight, or to become, not gain muscle mass, but actually lose weight and become a little bit, fitter in my physique. How does that work as well? How do we sort of exercise to lose weight, or exercise to get rid of a lot of fats that we may have put on over the Christmas period or over the long pandemic period? Who knows?
Yes, great question. So what I'll probably say is this: your body, think of your body as having a natural calculator, which is not necessarily an analogy, it's actually a fact. Your body is very aware of how much you put in, and your body basically does exactly what is, it basically adjusts your body according to its calculation, so to speak. So with the foods that we eat, everything that we eat has ingredients at the back, and they have calorie count on anything that we eat. Your body can keep track of these calories very, very well. And the one thing which people need to remember is your body has a certain level of, let's go into this, metabolism. So metabolism is a word which a lot of us have heard, which is basically how much energy our body uses to run. Everybody has a different level, not necessarily a different level, but everybody has metabolism. You don't necessarily know what it is, but your body does. So when you eat more than you usually eat, you'll find yourself adding weight. If you eat less than you usually eat, you naturally start to lose weight, whether you exercise or not. So when it comes to losing weight, I would say a lot of it is to do with your nutrition. Consider the foods that you eat and just have a little look, especially the snacks. Turn it on the back, look at the calorie count, and say how much calories you're actually taking in. If it's a biscuit, how many you're taking in per biscuit, or how much fat is in just one biscuit. And sometimes when you do this depressing exercise of looking at the back, you find some startling numbers, like biscuits which have 4.5 fat, 4.5 grams of fat per biscuit. And then you ask yourself, how many biscuits are in this pack? And you realize it's 30. And then you ask yourself, how many packs do you consume per week? And you realize it's like 4. So it's like, you start to realize that by manipulating maybe just one snack that you have, you start hitting your goals. And that's generally what I would say. Look at the things that you eat and try and pay a bit of attention to just how many calories you take in and things, and then play around with it. Play around with it. Eat, like take out maybe a whole pack of biscuits, watch for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. How does your body do in terms of weight? Get on the scale. I realize, oh, I've lost weight. What else can I do in my diet? Let me change that. But there's other things in your diet like brown rice, low calorie content, but is effective in having the amount of fiber it has. It prevents you from feeling hungry. So having brown bread over white bread, brown rice over white rice functions very, very well to control your appetite. So if you'd like to lose weight, brown rice is your best friend. It'll keep you full and keep you away from the snacks.
Okay, so that was really interesting. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this YouTube video, you probably by now have some questions that you're really wanting Gus to answer, but because it's not live, he's not going to be able to answer you straight away. But we do apologize for that, by the way. But what we would like to say is still do put your questions in the chat, and as we air the program, we will collect any questions that you may have, and we will pass that over to Gus in the form of an email or a text message or his Instagram page or whatever. And he will be able to, if you put some contact details, I'm sure he'll be able to get back to you that, or we can actually summarize some of those questions and leave them as comments in the video, so you can come back later and see whether or not Gus has answered your question. Is that okay, Gus? Can we do that? Did you hear that, Gus? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Okay. So, and of course, we will add any contact details for Gus in the video when we have finished this session. So we've been talking now for perhaps just a little bit under an hour or so. We're going to continue a little bit because I think Gus has a few more points that he'd like us to know. So Gus, where do you want to take us from here?
I just want to take you through a small equation which I think will be beneficial for people to realize and address something which is often talked about, especially as a personal trainer. I've come across so many questions about this, and it's to do with, you've already got a section on nutrition, but I just want to explain the science behind some of the crash diets that people go through.
Okay.
So calculate, you can have your mathematical hats on if you're watching this. So when we talk about BMR, BMR is your basal metabolic rate, or commonly known as metabolism. Your metabolism is about, like I've mentioned before, it's to do with how much energy your body consumes to run your body. If you eat more calories and consume more calories than your body burns, this is how you add weight. If you eat less calories than your body actually needs to run, this is how you lose weight. So a lot of crash diets that you see online, if it's anything to do with calorie restriction and you're eating far less than what you actually used to and you feel like you still have an appetite you'd like to eat, these diets are something which draws people to go to because they think exercise is too hard. Therefore, let me cut the corner and go to this diet. But the reality of the matter is, anytime you're doing a crash diet, they work because you're cutting your calories, which you need to have to run. Your body will naturally find a comfortable place to maintain your body, which is to eat away at the fat. That's good because that's what you kind of wanted to do anyway. But the issue is that your body also starts to eat at your muscle mass in order to maintain this smaller size. So a lot of people feel as if, oh, it's worked. Why? I'm smaller. But the reality is, if you have less muscle mass, your metabolism drops. That's a key thing you have to remember. The less muscle mass you have, the less metabolism you have. So if your body has been eating away at the fat and the muscle mass in your body to make you smaller, when you finally stop this diet, this is why people balloon and they get bigger, because you go back to eating your normal amount of calories, but because you have less muscle mass to start with now, your metabolism is also lower. When you eat anything, it has a bigger impact on your body to just add weight. And so the long story short, which I'm trying to tell people is just exercise.
Okay.
Go for exercise, because there's no corner which can actually be cut when it comes to exercise. There's no substitute for exercise. The best thing is eat a full healthy diet. Get your carbs in, get your protein in, get your veg in, a little bit of fat in, and then exercise. That's the best thing you can do, because when you maintain your muscle mass in your body's metabolism stays high, and you're able to build a physique, the physique that you really, really want. When you're defined, you're toned, you look like that, that's when you're able to hit that goal. So just try and avoid any of these crash diets, because I always tell all my clients, stick with the food which you can maintain for your whole life. If you can get your results while eating what you're used to eating, by all means, you will succeed. But when you try to go on a diet for this period and that period, the issue is that it's not sustainable. So the moment you go off it, the results of it leaves with it.
Wow. Wow.
right? And the other point I was gonna make a mention is it kind of leads into how the human body is. We would love for our bodies to be growing stronger every single day till the day we die. But unfortunately, our body started to degenerate and work against us when we get to some certain ages. So there's a lot of research which will tell you that when you get to around 40, between 40 and 50 years old, your body's metabolism naturally drops, and a lot of the functions in our body starts to work against us. And that's when you start to find that as people get older, my back hurts a bit more, my knees hurt a bit more, I'm more tired because our bodies are actually starting to break down. So before 40, I'm not saying you shouldn't exercise if you're under 40. However, after you get to 40, science will tell you that you must exercise. You must find something to do to keep you active. It doesn't have to be the most intense exercise, but avoid, if you go on the NHS page, I'll save time from having to read all of it, but NHS will tell you, avoid a sedentary lifestyle, which is sitting down continuously. You wake up, you lie down in your bed at night. You wake up in the morning, and the most walking you do is, from your room to the bathroom to go and get ready. Then you sit down in your car. You go to work, you sit down at the office for 8 hours with different postures, your neck tilting, you're on the phone. You then get into your car, you sit down. You then get home, you walk to your house, then you sit down. Then bedtime comes, then you lie down. Imagine what will happen if that's all you do for 50 years.
Wow.
Your body is actually getting weakened, and you're training your body to be supported by things. To be supported by things. But all of us want to get older and support ourselves.
Yes.
So if you want to support yourself, the older we get, to keep your body strong, you need to start exercising so that you teach your body, you teach your legs to hold yourself, you teach your arms to be able to hold things, and you teach your core and your back to be able to support you, which means less risk of falling. If you do fall, at least if you've been exercising, your body's strong enough to take the impact, and you're not going to fall and have long-standing issues. So just remember, the goal of life, I will tell you, is not longevity. Yes, longevity would like to live long, but you want to live long and have quality years behind you, free of pain. So exercise allows you to not only live longer, but to live longer, stronger. Some people continue to live long and they get older, but if you are feeling a lot of pain as you get older, that's not something which you really want to experience, and exercise will prevent that. So you can live till 80, 90, but you feel like my knees are not really giving way. The ideal thing is to die of old age. And I think that's something which I'd want for everybody as a personal trainer, to die of old age and die free of pain, and exercise will give you the opportunity to do so. So when you go to exercise and when you go to take part in these types of things, I'd probably ask yourself, yes, you'd like to get ready for your holiday. Yes, you'd like to get ready for your wedding, but ask yourself, where do I want to be when I'm 70? How do I want to look? How do I want to feel? When you ask yourself that, even if you're someone who's not into exercise at the moment, if you want to feel good at 70, you're going to have to work for it.
Yes.
Yep. So like Tony said, you can contact me if you'd need to, because your plan will be different from somebody else's plan, or your needs will be different. So that's where we can talk about stuff like that. But I'd like to leave you with these basic general points, which is factual for everybody.
Wow. Gus, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, on audio and visual as well. Exercise is not just for the young, but it's for the older people like me. I'm getting a bit gray here as well.
You're young. You're young. You're
But
young.
yeah, there was a lot I certainly have learned there, Gus, and I'm certainly going to be watching this back again to pick up on some points that I may have missed or not quite grasped. But yes, thank you very much for spending just a brief hour with us and telling us why we need to exercise and how important it is for us to exercise as we get older. And we certainly don't want to be relying on other bits of equipment so that we can hold up our weight. We just want our own frame and our own bones to be able to carry us from A to B as long as possible. So we've talked about health issues. We've talked about, you know, how our bodies look and how they respond to exercise. We've talked about, you know, the chemicals that, you know, get put into your body as we exercise that actually make us feel, you know, better at the end of the day. And yeah, and generally how you look and how you feel and what it does for your mental well-being as well, making you feel more positive, making you feel more energetic, and giving you that confidence and that confidence boost, as we heard earlier of a young lady getting a promotion in her job. So there's lots of benefits to why we should exercise. And I really implore that, you know, if you're starting this new year and one of your New Year's resolutions is, I'm going to exercise, then do it. You're going to come up against, you know, brick walls where sometimes you may get an injury and you have to stop for a little while. But keep a note, keep a diary and say, oh, I haven't been exercising for the last 2 weeks. Let's get back on it. Let's get back on track. And I think, you know, if we do continue those regimes and all the determination and the motivation and all of that that goes with exercising, we will be better people at the end of it. So Gus, I want to thank you for spending your time with us today. And of course, we will try and pass any questions that we get in the chat to you. So if you're watching, if you watch when you finished, you'll see at the end of this video, we will leave Gus's contact details, and you can contact him directly if you so choose, or we can pass any questions that you have onto him, and we will put the answers, or Gus will endeavor to send the answers to us, and we'll place those in the video for you. So once again, oh, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, if you do like what you see on the Parkside YouTube channel, don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that button. And we want to see more people joining our channel. And, you know, as our family grows, we want to share the joy and the benefit of all this knowledge. So once again, from myself and Gus, we want to thank you for taking the time to watch us, and have a better 2021. And we pray that everyone, near and far, because people are watching all over the world, stay safe and be well. Thank you for watching.